Once upon a time, in a very small house, lived a bottle of bathroom cleaner who did not identify with any gender, but liked the name Dorothy. Dorothy was terribly anxious about the inside spilling out as a result of being knocked over, and spent the whole life hiding behind the best friend's Duck. Duck always felt uncomfortable about the shape of their neck, and preferred that they both hide behind the toilet where the guests could not see them. They spent their days wondering why modern humans were so obsessed with putting labels on things. One day, the toilet broke down and a team of repair people rushed to the house to take them to a psychiatrist. Dorothy and Duck stared into the void that was left behind. With nothing to clean, they would need to find a new purpose in life. Thus began the long journey downstairs, for Dorothy was only prepared to travel one step at a time, and Duck insisted they only move when it's dark. The cat's unpredictable movements gave them constant anxiety, but they could not go back. Now that toilet had gone, the owners were too poor to buy a new one. When Dorothy and Duck reached downstairs, they realized that the people were quite toxic, and it would be better to stand outside. Exhausted from the long journey, the two bottles fell asleep in front of the door. A sudden rush of fresh air. The bottles felt their way in motion. Sleep left their heavy eyelids as they realized they were being loaded into a recycling van. Dorothy screamed, but the workers were too interested in talking about the football to notice any sound. Neither of them could work out if the football could be recycled. They decided to throw it in the garden next door and drove off with the two bottles in the back of the truck. Dorothy and Duck could not understand what was happening. They had never been educated about the outside world. In complete darkness, they contemplated if this was the end. Suddenly, they felt everything jump. The truck had gone over a pothole. Duck's tight lids kept everything in place, but Dorothy's insides were all over the floor. The bottle had a panic attack, but Duck fell too far to help them. At the recycling centre, all the plastics were unloaded and taken to the washing station. Water and strong, unknown chemicals filled the air. Dorothy could not breathe. They felt their body transported on a cold conveyor and wondered if this was a funeral. But then the conveyor belt stopped. They felt the warm air of a dryer and opened their eyes. All around them were rows of empty plastic shapes. Dorothy looked down and saw that they too were naked. Who am I? Wondered Dorothy, for they could no longer be identified by their label. Dorothy? I'm here! They instantly recognized their best friend's voice. It was reassuring to know someone still understood who they were. The bottle stopped and looked at each other. Dorothy, I've got something to tell you, said her best friend. My name is Curly. Don't call me by the name of a species to whom I don't belong. Dorothy hugged them and said, Of course, Curly, I accept you for all that you are. In the distance, the bottles saw another conveyor. It was full of curly straws, freshly made in the most beautiful colours. Orchestral music played in the background as Curly took steady steps towards the melting machine. The tempo intensified, and Curly started running, faster than they had ever run before. They jumped on the conveyor belt and headed in the opposite direction to the rest of the straws, towards the melting machine. Down below, Dorothy stood anxiously waiting. And then the music stopped, and they saw the glowing light of the machine popping out its latest set of remelts. With full confidence in themselves, Curly emerged, singing, I'm feeling sexy and free, like glitter's raining on me. And glitter did rain on them. They looked glorious. Dorothy replied, You're like a shot of pure gold. I think I'm about to explode. They danced in celebration. Having already lost their detergent, Dorothy could move freely, no longer afraid to fall.